Okay, if you missed the class where we did the ruler activity, or you just like to see the same thing done again with a different example, this lesson is going to teach you how to make a proper measurement. Okay, so we have this fish here, and we want to see how long this fish is. The ruler I have on the screen is just a pretty blank ruler. We call it blank ruler. You can see that this ruler is just 0 to 1 with nothing in the middle. Now, when we measure, we have some tips to help us. These tips are really what making a measurement is all about. So we answer these questions. Number one, what place values can this device provide information about? Well, let's look at our ruler here. This ruler is designed on an interval from 0 to 1. So the place value that this thing tells us about is the ones place. And if you remember from math, that's the place right before the decimal. So I can put, by using this ruler, a number in the ones place. There's no other tick marks. I have no other information about the length of this fish except it's somewhere between 0 and 1. The next question is, what place values am I sure of? Well, it starts at 0 in the ones place, and I know by looking at this fish that it is definitely larger than 0. So I am sure, oh, and by the way, it's also less than 1. So I am sure about the ones place. In fact, I can go ahead and fill that in with a number. It is larger than 0, but less than 1. So the ones place value that we put there is 0. It's not yet 1. It's not yet 1. Okay? This 0 is an insignificant 0. It's a placeholder to tell me that I don't yet have a value in the ones place. It's not big enough yet to earn a number. Okay, on to our third tip. What place value am I most unsure of, and do I guess? Well, we've been talking about the ones place with this fish and how much information this ruler tells us about that place value. So we can't tell anything bigger, and we really can't tell anything less, but we have to make some determination. I can't just say 0 because that doesn't make sense. So one thing about measurements is we fill in what we absolutely know based on the measuring device, and then we always estimate one place value smaller than what we can see. On this ruler, again, we can see the ones place, so the next place value smaller would be the tenths. And we're going to guess that place value. So this fish, somewhere along there, and let's just say 0.4. It's an estimate. It's going to have some error to it. Could you say 0.5? Yeah, you could say 0.5. Could you say 0.8? Yes. You could say any 0.1 would even be an okay answer here. Now, it's maybe not close to being accurate, but it's still okay. Now, once you placed this guess into a measurement, you're done measuring because you've introduced error, and you don't want to guess any further than that, introduce more error, so you stop. So according to my measurement, 0.04 units is the length of this fish. Okay, I have a question for you at the bottom now. Think about it before I tell you the answer. Is 0.09 units an acceptable measurement for this fish? The answer is yeah. Even though 0.9 would be somewhere down here, and it looks ridiculous, it looks wrong, but remember, this place value, this tenths place on this ruler, is just a guess. 0.9 is fine. It may be inaccurate, but we can deal with that. We're aware that we're making an error here. Now, I wouldn't suggest you make 0.9 your guess here. We know better than that. We're more precise than that, but for this ruler, it's accurate enough. Okay, let's move on to a different type of ruler here. We're going to put a more finely divided ruler with a fish. And let's go through the same tips that we had on the last slide. How long is this fish? Well, first, what place values do we have information about with this ruler? If you look, it goes from 0 to 1s. So this one link of this ruler is a 1s place. And then I also have the ruler divided into tenths. So with this ruler, we're also going to be able to definitively say how many tenths this fish is. So let's do that. Again, we start at 0, not yet 1. So between 0 and 1, this is a place holding 0 in the 1's place. Bigger than 0, but not yet enough to be 1. All right, next, here's the fish again. Somewhere right in there is where his tail fins end. Let's count. 1, 2, 3. So this is the third, and this is the fourth, 10th tick mark. We are definitely sure that this fish is at least 3 tenths, but not yet 4. So we can only put what we're sure of. Definitely 0.3. Obviously, the fish fins end up somewhere between 3 and 4. The next division would be the hundredths place. And here we're going to make our guess, our best effort here. Maybe 0.33. All right, I've guessed. So there is error now in my measurement. I can't be sure that that last 3 is correct. I have to stop. And I'm going to say that this fish is 0.33 units. Remember the last ruler, my guess was 0.4. Now this one is 0.33. Which one do you have more faith in? Was my 0.4 from the previous slide, was it wrong? Is it 2 wrong? Or is this one here 2 wrong? Went a little far. Okay. So just in your opinion, is 0.35 units an accurate measurement for this fish? Remember, we learned that accuracy is close to being correct. Would you call this 0.33 measurement correct? I think you can. We can see that it's in that neighborhood there. We can call this 0.33 an accurate measurement. How about precision? What do you think about 0.33 being enough to make this a precise measurement? Probably not, because for precision you need to have multiple measurements to show reproducibility of your measurement. And remember, the more decimal places you have, the more likely that is to happen. Okay, one more. Let's measure the fish one final time with a ruler that's divided up even smaller. And if you look at this ruler too long, you're going to see a lot of problems with it. I got tired of messing with it on PowerPoint, so forgive me. But let's measure it. How long is this fish on this ruler? All right, what are we sure of? Again, 0 and 1 is the first interval that we can, or place value that we have information about. It is not yet 1, so a place holding 0. Then we are divided into tenths again. I'm just going to skip over here. So that's the tenths place. Again, the fish is somewhere right here between 3 and 4. I am definitely sure, with no error, that it is at least 0.3. Now this time, we have divisions even smaller than tenths. So pretend like I'm a good artist and there are 10 tick marks here. Now in this ruler we have definite information about the hundredths place. So we count the tick marks, 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe some of you might say it's right on the tick mark or right before the tick mark. Here's where the error is going to come in. It is at least for those tick marks. Definitely. Definitely for hundredths. If you put 5 there, that's fine. In fact, I'm going to do that just to make a point. Let's do that. And I'm going to make the argument that this line is right on that tick mark. To tell or to communicate that your measurement, your final digits, that we need to make our estimate, our guess, to communicate that it needs to be on the tick mark, we use a 0. That tells me that this is right on the money. We're not estimating it somewhere between 2 tick marks. Nope. That means the line or the tail fin is right on the 5. That's what that 0 will communicate. In this measurement, we have 3 sig figs. We were sure about the 3, we were sure about the 5, and this 0 gave me information also by telling me that the tail fin was right on the 5 tick mark. So this is a significant 0. This 0 is a placeholder. We're not measuring 0 value, we're saying there wasn't enough length there to even register. So that is a placeholding 0. Remember, the rules will say don't start counting sig figs until you get to the first number. In terms of measurement, that's the first readable quantity. Readable quantity. So let's fill this in. Our fish this time was 0.350 units. And one final question, how does 3 decimal places make this particular ruler a higher precision instrument? Does it make you more accurate? Let's start with precision first. Does this make a higher precision instrument? The answer is yeah, of course it does. Because the more decimal places you have, the more likely your friends can come in behind you and get at least these first 2 decimal places, or these 2 placeholders behind the decimal, place values behind the decimal, get those 2 to match yours. There will always be discrepancy amongst your friends about that guess. Some of you might guess the same thing, but there will always be disagreement. Thus, there will always be error. And the further to the right behind that decimal the error occurs, the less important that mistake, that error can turn out to be. How about the accuracy? Does this make you more accurate? Again, yeah, because the more that you can definitely say the 3 is right, the 5 is definitely right, you can be more accurate and get closer to the real value. With the first ruler, it was a poke and a hope. We said 0.3, 0.5, 0.9, all of those values were acceptable for that ruler. That's really not good enough for measurement. Okay, if you have any questions, be sure to ask me in class. Come by and we can practice some more.